Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Real-Time Edits. Ray Hennessy here. I got a great image from Usama Tabani, so check him out on Instagram. There's the username right there. Wonderful photographer, based out of Pakistan, which is really cool. Love some of this backlit stuff there. Beautiful pintail. That's awesome. Awesome stork. Great use of light. Great photographer. So here's what we have today. This really nice backlit turn, full dive, heading straight down. Looks really nice and sharp. Love it. All right, so going to start with some cropping here. I definitely want to keep some of that habitat there. I'm just going to straighten it out. It feels just a slight bit crooked, which is pretty much how I shoot everything. And I want to go perfectly centered on this, which is why I'm using that centered grid. Usually I don't use any grid when I'm cropping like that, but in this case I wanted to kind of keep it, right down the middle, right on the beak there. I thought that would be kind of nice. All right, I think that's about where I'm going to go. I'm going to leave it a little bit lower in the frame versus coming down and going full center, although I go in just a little bit tighter, I guess, like that. That seems better. All right, exposure up, warmer, white balance, drop the blacks. Let's get some richness in that. I am going to go darker on this water, though. It's just a little bit light and distracting to me. And I'm mainly going to drop the highlights and the whites, just kind of try to dull it down. I maybe don't want like some of these dark values to go as much. I would rather have the lighter values just get a little bit darker, something like that maybe, and maybe I'll just put a softer fade on it. And then I'll subtract my subject, so that should work out quite nicely. There we go. I'll throw another select subject on it, and then we're going to pop the highlights, the whites, and then drop the blacks to maintain contrast, because I don't want it to look all washed out, which is certainly something that could happen. And I'm going to go back to this original here with the linear and actually just lift that up a little bit higher and just basically let it take over kind of the whole dark area back there. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to throw another linear on the top half just to get a little bit more color in that sky, and I'm really going to go golden with that. There we go. That's looking better. The last little bit I really want to do is just really highlight that, and then maybe still just take down some of those lighter areas, but I think I'll do the rest of that in Photoshop. It's a bummer. I mean, listen, this is an amazing shot. So unbelievably technically hard to get a turn mid-flight and dive like that, as sharp as he did, and backlit too. Also not an easy task, right? But ideally, I would have loved for that bird to have been right in there so that it didn't intersect into this lighter stuff. So that's what I'm going to try and minimize right now, is I'm going to try and minimize all these darker areas. And so I'm going to use a burn layer, but first I'm going to go back to the background and try a select subject. It should work nicely, and then I'll inverse that. And now I can do some painting right on here. And I'm just going to do some light painting to try and burn down that light strip that was kind of showing back there, and just kind of take that down in value. I don't want it to be obvious that I'm doing this, though, so that's why I'm trying to do just real light painting. Sometimes you can almost not even see it. I'm pushing like so light on the pressure sensitivity here on the tablet. And then we'll go a little bit more darker with the water, but not much. And then this side's getting like a little weird in the color, so I'm going to go warm that up a little bit, add a little red and yellow to get it kind of orange, and then just paint some of that back in there. There we go. That's helping it. In fact, that's kind of nice. Oops. That's kind of nice along the whole bottom there, I would say. Oh, and then I accidentally did the bird, so don't need that. We'll take it back off of that bird. All right, this is looking better now. And I know the problem is we lost the shape of the head there, but that's fine. I'm going to get that back by adding more rim light into this. So I'm going to go with a nice tiny brush and a real heavy push on the brightness here and see if I can just create a new outline around this. Because the sun was a little bit, oops, that was a bad click. The sun was a little above it, right? Not much. I mean, this is some beautiful golden backlight right here. But you can see, based on the direction, the top half of the bird is getting way more of that rim light versus the bottom half of the bird. So I'm going to make that rim light again. And listen, I'm going a little sharp right now. I'm not going to leave it this sharp, but this is what it's all about. You can see there's like a soft glow there to begin with, so I'm basically just trying to enhance that. And I'm just going to outline this. This is tedious, not fun, and there's no other way that I know of doing this real easily. See, that's what happens. This is why I use the click, shift, click method all the time, because you can try and hand draw that stuff, but man, I feel like my hand is not steady enough. I get sloppy real quick with that. And so I'm just going to do an outline. The underside of the wings, or basically in this case, it's actually the top part of the wings, is lit really well, so I don't have to worry about that too much. I just need to worry about giving some shape and outline to the bottom half, bad click, the bottom half of the wings here, or actually the bird's top of the wing, since it's all inverted, diving like a crazy maniac. All right, just about there. I love this shot, by the way. And thanks everybody for submitting. If you are interested in submitting, I mean, I have a lot left to go through, so it's going to be a while before I can get to it. But if you're interested in submitting, just head on over to rayhennessy.com, and then right up here in the videos, just look for real-time edits, and then you can actually submit a photo right there, and that's where you can watch a ton of these previous edits. Also, while I'm here, quick plug, look for any of my online workshops. Just go to workshops, online workshops, and then you can learn about how I do all of the stuff that I'm showing you in this video, both in Lightroom and in Photoshop, or just head on over to learnbirdphotos.com. Nice and easy to remember, and then you can check out my new Photoshop for Wildlife Photography course. This is an entire course geared just towards how I edit using Photoshop for wildlife photography, and it's mainly using birds, but these concepts work for any type of wildlife, and I've been doing this for over 20 years working in Photoshop. So this course is broken down into chapters, all the different tools, all the techniques, gets into layers. It's great for beginners. If you've never touched Photoshop, this will teach you to do it, but I get really advanced as well. So if you've been using Photoshop for a while but really want to hone your skills and maybe add some new tools to the toolbox, definitely check out this course. It's all broken down. It's over 9 hours, or I'm sorry, almost 9 hours of video content for you to learn and watch at your own pace. You can also download all the photos that I use in the course so you can follow along with everything I'm doing. So $325, it's all yours. I also have bundles available for the different courses that I have online. So you can check all that stuff out at Learn Bird Photos, or just head on over to rayhennessy.com, look for the online workshops, and that'll get you there as well. All right, back to this photo. So this is a little too sharp on the line there that I painted in, so I'm just going to go grab the blur tool, and then I'm just going to start softening up that edge that I painted in. I can leave it a little bit sharper right around the bird there, but down here I really want to soften it up, so I'm just going to hit it a little bit harder there. And there we go. There's our completed rim light right around the bird. It's a little bit strong in some areas, so now I'm just going to take the paintbrush and just kind of soften it up in some of the areas where I don't think it needs to be quite as dominant, and just give it a little bit of variation, right? So it looks more realistic. There we go. So now we have that really good shape of the bird in there. It's showing out nicely. And then I'm just going to try maybe just throwing a little bit more contrast in that whole section back there, and just really make it kind of pop. So that's where I'm going to go with the edit. Let me paint some of that right across the middle there. I'll leave the water mostly alone. I think that's where I want to end this one. So I'm leaving it a little bit more subtle, so it's not going to show as well, although maybe I want to bring some of that back. Let's show a little bit more of the head. So I'll just paint with black and remove some of that burning that I did. There we go. So just a subtle bit of that line back there now. I just don't want to go, I don't think I want to go quite back to the original, but just having a little bit back there does help give the outline of that bird's head. So I think that's doing the trick right there. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to save that one. And this is something I do often, what you saw right there, right? I'll edit a little too far in one direction, but then I always toggle back to my original back and forth so I can see where I went and where I came from and determine if I've gone too far. So there's my final edit. There was the original cropped version. Let's just completely reset that. So there's the original. We're down to something like that. Hopefully you guys like that edit. I think it looks pretty nice. Great image. Really wonderful image from Usama. Thanks so much for submitting that one. And like I said, if you haven't followed him already, go give him a follow.